Hi everyone, welcome back to Agriclarity, a unit of clarity for sure. In today's Concept Clarity series, we'll be discussing a very important topic for IBPS AFO mains, which is pest of stored grains. So, stored grain pest can severely affect both the quantity and quality of our food reserves. Understanding them is a key to preventing post-harvest losses. So, let's dive right in. Before discussing the major pest, let's discuss what are the losses that are caused due to these storage pests. So, grain stores after harvest are often attacked by a variety of pests, including insects, mites, rodents, birds, and molds. Among these, insects cause the most economic loss. In India, around 50% of grains are lost annually due to post-harvest damage, and globally, AFO estimates 10% of annual loss in storage. Since 67 to 70% grains are stored at farmers level, proper knowledge about these pests and their control is essential. So the damage caused by stored grain pest includes like weight loss due to grain consumption by pest, economic or monetary loss due to lower market value, loss in quality and nutritional value, loss in viability in case of seed grains, rejection in market due to contamination by insect parts, frass or molds. So losses in general, the losses can be classified into two types, which are quantitative loss, and second is qualitative loss. So the quantitative loss can be said as the losses which causes direct consumption of grains, uh, and the qualitative loss can be concluded as a contamination having foul smell, change in taste, and loss of germination. So there are two types of losses can be classified from this slide. Okay, moving on. Let's discuss the sources of infestation. So infestation can begin from several sources such as insect laying eggs in the field, like especially in standing crops close to the harvest. Then old infested grains storage bags and containers, unclean threshing floors or farmyards, cracks in storage walls and structures, poor hygiene and improper cleaning of stores and tools, cross infestation during transportation or mixing of fresh or old stock. And so these are the ways, or these can be said as a sources of infestation causing uh, for occurrence of these major pests. Then the types of, how these are can be classified, or the factors which are responsible for these is infestation can be classified into two types, which are first is external, or we can say physical causes, and second is internal, which are biotic causes. So in the external, we can say the temperature, moisture, and light are the major factors for these infestation, whereas in the internal, insects, rodents, birds, and mites can be the factors of these infestations. Okay. Now, there are generally two major infestation types. First is the hidden infestation, and second is the cross infestation. Questions are asked directly on these types, so you need to be careful about these types. So first is occurrence in hidden infestation, when the occurrence of occurs when the insect lays eggs within the grain kernels while in the field. The larvae later emerge inside the storage. Okay, so this is called hidden infestation because the insect cannot be seen by the naked eyes. The next is cross infestation. In the cross infestation, when the insects migrate from infested storage bags, bins, or surrounding areas to new stock, these are called cross infestation. Okay, moving on. These stored grain pests are classified into two types. First is internal feeders, then external feeders. They are further divided into hard body and soft body. So one thing is that the internal feeders are also known by primary feeders, okay, and the external feeders are known by secondary feeders. So, or we can say primary pest or secondary pest. So, uh, these were the examples of the, these were the concept of the internal and external feeder. Let's see what are under these feeders. So, the internal feeders, or we can say hard body beetles, are like hard body beetles includes the examples of like rice weevil and Khapra beetle, and the soft body includes the moths which are rice moth and almond moth, okay, or we can say grain moth. So these are the examples. So the insects which are developed inside the grain kernel are called internal feeder, and the insects which feed on the grain surface or powder are called external feeders. So examples of the internal feeders are rice weevil and lesser grain borer, which we'll be studying in the later slides. And in external feeders, the examples are like red floor beetle and sawtooth beetle and cigarette beetle, okay. So in today's session, we'll be discussing only the major internal feeders, and in the part 2 of this session, we'll be discussing the external feeders, and the management of all these storage pests are like they are uh, combined. So we'll be discussing the combined management in the second part itself. So stay tuned for the second part also. So let's start with the first major internal feeder pest, which is grain weevil. Okay, so the grain weevil includes uh, various species such as Sitophilus oryzae for rice, Sitophilus zmaes, which is for maize, and Sitophilus granaeus, which is for granary. They are from the family Truculinidae, and the order is Coleoptera. Okay, the host of these pests are rice, wheat, maize, and jar. So the question can be asked here from the species, the host, and the family. And also you should be very careful with, because there are few questions asked in major agricultural based examinations where there is direct questions asked on the scientific name of grain weevil. Okay. So moving on, the if we say about the damage we can be said as that the female weevils bore into the grain and then they lay eggs there. Then the larvae hatch inside the grain and feed, making it internal feeder and making the grain hollow. Only fine powder remains. Okay, and the infestation causes the weight loss, heating, and musty smell of the grains. Okay, so now let's see the life cycle and identification of these weevils. So the eggs are laid inside, as I had said earlier. No need to memorize the egg period. If we can see, or I have included the summary table at the last of this session, from where you can compare and learn about the every periods. Okay, so next is the larva feed internally. The pupate, or we can say the pupa pupates inside the grain. The petals are small red brown and dark brown with a long slender snout. You can see from this image I have inserted here how the beetles have long slender snout. The wings are light reddish or yellowish, have yellowish spot. As you can see here, the wings have light yellowish spots on their dorsal side. Both as the uh, grain weevils are from the Coleoptera order. So the damage causing in these orders are generally the grubs and adults. So the grubs and adults causes the heavy damage in this um, by this pest. Okay, so they come generally, these pests complete their 3 to 4 generations per annually under warm and humid conditions. So यहाँ से ये पता चल सकता है कि आपको क्वेश्चंस अराइज हो सकते हैं आपको इनके स्पेसिफिक, जो यहाँ पे मैंने रेड से हाईलाइट किया हुआ है, हाउ the adult beetle is identified, then आपको पूछा जा सकता है कि as these are मतलब कि these are the internal feeders, so you can guess out that the pupation is conducted inside the grain, and just you have to remember the damage of these pests. Okay, moving on the next pest, which is lesser grain borer, or we can say Rhizopertha dominica. So these pests are from the family Bostridae, and again these are from the order Calyptera. The host of these pests are paddy, wheat, maize, sorghum, pulses, okay, and biscuits. So this is a serious pest of stored cereals like wheat, rice, barley, and even biscuits and flour. Then the damage we can conclude here from is that the both larva and the adult bore holes in the grains and feed inside the grains, and they generate excess powder and heat there, and can completely destroy the stored stock if they are unchecked. Okay, so the indicators of these damage are waste flow, heating, and the shelling of the kernels. As you can see, I have inserted the image how the kernels are shelled by them. So talking about the lifestyle and identification of these pests, they are like tiny cylindrical pests, as you can see from the image, and the adult have a three segmented club shaped antenna. Okay, they range from black to brown. Then the eggs are laid on the grain surface. Then the larva pupates inside the grain, and the male live for the longer period. And the generation of these pests are completed in from 5 to 6 generation per year, and often goes unnoticed until the damage is severe. Okay, so again you have to be careful about the family here, the scientific name of this pest, the host of these pests, and the indicators of their damage, and again the specific only key specific identification or life cycle particulars of these pests. Okay, no need to memorize everything present on these of these pests. Okay, so now let's practice few questions based on the pests we have studied earlier. Try to answer these questions in the comments below. I have denoted the question number itself. You can answer like answer of one and answer of second question in the comments below. So the first question is, which characteristic features helps identify the rice weevil? So the options are, they are of large body size and metallic green color. Second is the um, four light colored spots on the elytra and the distinct down, body covered with the large bristles, and the last is black body with red bands on the wing. Okay, so the next second question is that the head of the lesser grain borer is broad and visible from the above, hidden under the thorax, giving a hooded appearance, elongated with beak-like projection, and last is covered with the tuft of hair. So try to answer these questions in the comments below. I'll be pinning the answers of these questions in the coming sessions of the part 2 of external feeders. Okay. Moving on, the next pest of today's session is the Khapra beetle, which is Trogoderma granarium. These are from the family Dermaceae, and the climate they prefer is like dry areas of Punjab and Rajasthan. The host of these beetles are wheat, maize, pulses, and oilseeds. So now let's see what are the damage caused by these pests. So the damage are caused by grubs who reduce the grain to the powder. These powder grains are called frass. Okay. Now they also cast dirty skins on these grains. The damage is confined to only peripheral layers. That means if we see a grain of bag full with the grain, only the peripheral or the upper region of the grains are generally destroyed by these beetles. Okay, so the infestation caused by these pests reduces the seed viability and also gives a distinct foul smell. So the indicators can be the cast skins, frass, and hair, and contamination. Okay, so one thing from here is that is very peculiar is that hair. So the hair comes from the larva. As you can see from the image, the larva has a distinct bristle, or we can say long hair like structures, present on itself. So these hairs are generally found in the areas or on the site where these larvae have caused a certain amount of infestation. So that's why there is a indicator of hair present here. Okay. Talking about the lifestyle of these pests, that the adults of these pests do not feed. Males are generally smaller, darker, and have a impeccable. Uh, they are impeccable of flying. The adult do not cause a major damage, and there is no need of memorizing the eggs or grub period here. But you can see that the full grown grub is generally yellowish to brown with brown head and clothed with the long hairs. As you can see the picture inserted here, how you can see the larva is clothed with a very long hairs. Okay. So these beetles complete their generations up to 7 to 8 per year and can cause 100% damage in just 5 to 6 months. So there is also need of checking the bags of grain very often. Now, moving on, our next pest of today's session is the pulse beetle, which is Callosobruchus maculatus. Again, these are from the family Bruchidae. There are few questions. I mean, actually, these pulse beetles are very important pests, and frequently questions are asked on the scientific name of these pests. So you have to be careful, and you need to be memorizing these scientific name of these beetles. Okay. Next, moving on, the host of these beetles are pulses, as you can conclude from their name itself that these beetles infest the pulses, major pulses like gram, moong, lentils, and red gram. I have also inserted the image of the gram infestation caused by these beetles. So the damage caused by these beetles are that they generally these beetles lay egg on the green surface, and the larva enters and feed inside the seed, naming itself inside of internal feeder and forming tunnels. The exit holes are also visible when the adult emerges, and the infestation reduces the seed viability and causes a foul smell. Okay. So the indicators can be concluded that there is also a flavor loss of the particular pulse and flowery appearance of the particular pulse. Okay. The If we say about the life cycle or identification of these pests are generally small and oval beetle. As you can see, as I have inserted the image of these pests, they are small and oval shaped, and the adult beetles have a color of brownish to gray with a characteristic ivory-like spots. As you can see, they have certain ivory spots on their dorsal side, and these I mean these beetles have do not cover their entire abdomen, like the electra, their wings, or we can say the electra wings of these beetles do not cover the entire dorsal side of these beetle. And again, these beetles complete their overall generation per year or annually. They can complete their generation from 7 to 8 generations per year and causing 100% damage in just again 5 to 6 months. Okay. So the last pest of today's session is Groundnut Bruchid, which is Caryedon serratus. Again, these pests are from Bruchidae family. As we have discussed earlier, the pulse beetle was also from these family. Then the host of this pest is groundnut, as the name suggests, and also the tamarind pods. The damage caused by these pests is that the eggs are again laid by the adult on the pod shell. The larva goes into the pod and feed on the seeds. Then the pupa pupates outside the pod in a paper-like cocoon. I have denoted here how paper-like cocoon they complete their pupation, and the infested seeds become brittle and lose viability and market value. Okay. So the indicators can be concluded here that the exit holes are very visible. The cocoons the pupation are completed outside the pods. Okay, only two indicators can be concluded from here. Then talking about the identification or life cycle of these pests is that the eggs are glued to pods or kernels, or we can say they are laid outside the pods. The larva bores into the groundnut shell and feed on the seed. And the beetle has a reddish brown cuticle. Okay, as you can see, they are of reddish brown color. Okay. So this was it for the groundnut bruchid. Now let's practice few questions now from the previous slides. Okay. So first question is that groundnut bruchid primarily infest. First option is standing crop in the field. Second is leaves and stem of the groundnut. Third is stored groundnut pods and kernels. Fourth is groundnut roots causing nodulation tissues. Okay. Moving on, the fourth question of our today's session is, which of the following statement about pulse beetle is correct? First option is only adults cause damage to grains. Second is pulse beetles prefer high moisture grains for infestation. Third is infestation leads to reduced seed seed germination. And last is pulse beaters are mainly external feeders. Try to answer these questions in the comments below. We'll be discussing the answers of these questions in the second part of the series in much detail. So try at least once of answering these questions. Okay. So now let's quickly recap what we have learned today. I have tried to present the entire session in a tabular format where we have denoted what are the pests we have discussed, what are they have the main hosts on which the insects infest, the damage type and the life cycle. You can take a screenshot from here and revise it for the examination purpose. Okay. So to sum it up today's session, we can say that the stored grain pests cause massive economic loss annually. Understanding the biology and the damage helps in timely detection. Prevention through cleaning, drying, aeration, good storage is a key. And the knowledge is vital not just for exam but also real world agricultural advisory roles. So thank you for tuning in to the episode of the Concept Clarity series by Agriclarity. If you found this video helpful, please like, share and subscribe. Don't forget to drop your suggestions in the comments below and drop your answers of the practice questions in the comment. We'll be coming with the upcoming part 2 of this series. So stay tuned and stay prepared. Thank you.